This is the story of Jehoshaphat, God's most faithful king. In Hebrew, his name is rendered as God's judge. It was the time when the two kingdoms were separate, one was the kingdom of Judah and the other was the kingdom of Israel. The kingdom of Judah known to us from the time of David was ruled by Jehoshaphat, the fourth king of Judah and the sixth from David. Jehoshaphat's faith was so strong that God protected him and his kingdom, and this is because he believed that he could once again unite the 12 tribes of Israel. But despite his strong faith, he tried to join the kings of Israel who were wicked, believed in the way of the idols, and were led by false prophets. His story is a brave attempt to unite the two kingdoms into one, in order to keep God's covenant and return to God's way. A story of alliances with 3 wicked kings of Israel, the building of a shipyard that was considered a sin, and God's miraculous overthrow of the enemy's army without a fight. Let's begin. Jehoshaphat, one of the greatest of the kings of Judah. His reign lasted 25 years, and he was 35 at the time. Jehoshaphat ascended to the throne in the 31st year of his father Asa's reign after he fell ill and died. This is the story of brotherhood and peace between Israel's Ahab and Judah's Jehoshaphat. Instead of fighting each other, they coordinated actions and wars. It all began with Ahab asking Jehoshaphat to join him in war. So he asked Jehoshaphat, "Will you go with me to fight against Ramoth-Gilead?" Jehoshaphat replied to the king of Israel, "I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses." 1 Kings 22 verse 4. Although the two kingdoms are reuniting, the prophets of both kingdoms oppose the process. When King Ahab of Israel prepares for war against Aram in order to reclaim occupied Israeli territory, he invites Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, to join the fighting. Jehoshaphat accepts, but sets a condition. First seek the counsel of the Lord. 1 Kings 22 verse 5. Ahab agrees. So the king of Israel brought together the prophets, about 400 men, and asked them, "Shall I go to war against Ramoth-Gilead, or shall I refrain?" "Go," they answered, "for the Lord will give it into the king's hand." 1 Kings 22 verse 6. This prophecy is mysterious, and it's unclear which king it refers to. Rather than predicting the downfall of Aram, this prophecy could be referring to the downfall of Ahab. Since Ahab's own hearing is closed to such subtleties about him, does not notice the ambiguity in the words of the prophets. This prophecy of the 400 prophets does not impress Jehoshaphat, and he wishes to explore further. But Jehoshaphat asked, "Is there no longer a prophet of the Lord here whom we can inquire of?" 1 Kings 22 verse 7. Why was Jehoshaphat not satisfied with the prophecy of the masses? Unlike Ahab, Jehoshaphat felt that he did not receive a clear answer from God, due to the prophecy, and looked for a more accurate prophecy. But there is also another possibility. Jehoshaphat has a specific request, prophet, in the singular, and it is possible that it commands a certain suspicion towards the prophecy of the masses. Ahab should have noticed the fact that all the prophets used the same wording and remembered that this is not the way of prophecy. However, Ahab's opacity prevailed, and they fought arm. During the war, Jehoshaphat returns alone and Ahab, king of Israel, is killed. With the death of Ahab, when Jehoshaphat was left alone, the Moabites with the help of the Ammonites tried to take advantage of the opportunity and come up from the desert of Judah and threaten Jerusalem. Then messengers arrived and informed Jehoshaphat. A large army came up to war from Moab and Ammon. After hearing about this, many people gathered in Jerusalem to ask for God's help. They went to the temple and, there Jehoshaphat prayed and said, "God, we do not know what to do. We have no strength to stand against this great army. Please, help us." Their prayers were heard by God, who sent one of his servants to tell them, "You will not have to fight this battle. Take up your positions, stand firm and see the deliverance the Lord will give you, Judah and Jerusalem. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Go out to face them tomorrow, and the Lord will be with you." 2 Chronicles 20 verse 17. The next day, Jehoshaphat said to the people, "Trust in God." Later, he placed poets in front of the soldiers, and as they marched forward, the poets sang songs to the glory of God. When the enemies approached the battlefield, God made the enemy soldiers fight each other. It caused each of them to mistakenly identify the army of Judah in front of them, and thus hurt each other. And when the Israelites approached, every soldier of the enemy was dead. Thus, the victory was achieved not by the hand of man but by the intervention of God's hand. The prophets of the kingdom of Judah argued to Jehoshaphat that he was helping the wicked but remained faithful to God. Even so, Jehoshaphat continues to cooperate with Jehoram son of Ahab, and the two of them once again go to war against Moab's king. Later in the years, Jehoshaphat reconnects with King Ahaziah of Israel, and together they build a fleet of ships in Ezion-Geber. Ships sail to Tarshish and break at sea. There are two places in the Bible where it is stated that King Jehoshaphat of Judah built ships in Ezion, but they were destroyed. Now Jehoshaphat built a fleet of trading ships to go to Ophir for gold, but they never set sail, they were wrecked at Ezion-Geber. At that time Ahaziah son of Ahab said to Jehoshaphat, "Let my men sail with yours," but Jehoshaphat refused. 1 Kings 22 verses 48 to 49. Later, Jehoshaphat king of Judah made an alliance with Ahaziah king of Israel, whose ways were wicked. He agreed with him to construct a fleet of trading ships. After these were built at Ezion-Geber, Eleazar son of Dodavahu of Mareshah prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, "Because you have made an alliance with Ahaziah, the Lord will destroy what you have made." The ships were wrecked and were not able to set sail to trade. 2 Chronicles 20 verses 35 to 37. In Chronicles, the prophet says the ships got wrecked because Jehoshaphat teamed up with Ahaziah, the bad king of Israel. But in the book of Kings, the ship story comes before Ahaziah's story. Maybe there's another reason the ships got wrecked. It could be that making ships itself is seen as a sin, a prideful one. Is there a link between these two sins? King Solomon also had Tarshish ships. The king had a fleet of trading ships at sea along with the ships of Hiram. Once every 3 years it returned, carrying gold, silver and ivory, and apes and baboons. 1 Kings 10 verse 22. Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, teamed up with Ahaziah, Ahab's son and the king of Israel. He thought this alliance would make his kingdom strong, like Solomon's. Following the example of Solomon, he aimed to build Tarshish ships. However, Jehoshaphat overlooked the fact that Ahaziah was evil. So, teaming up with him didn't restore Israel to its golden days under Solomon. The Book of Kings points out the king's pride in taking on projects beyond his capacity. And the Book of Chronicles stresses the sin of associating with evil. As a result, both sins led to the tragic outcome: the ships were wrecked. During Jehoshaphat's rule, peace prevailed between Judah and Israel. He envisioned a united kingdom, fostering peace through agreements and marriages. Unlike the kings of Israel, Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, trusted in God's way, and the result of his faith allowed him to succeed. The Lord was with Jehoshaphat because he followed the ways of his father David before him. The Lord established the kingdom under his control, and all Judah brought gifts to Jehoshaphat, so that he had great wealth and honor. 2 Chronicles 17 verses 3 and 5. He didn't bother with king stuff, money, fame, or anything else, just with following the law of God. Jehoshaphat set up a large Sanhedrin, a big group of wise folks, priests, Levites, elders, and leaders in Jerusalem. He sent messengers, like priests and Levites, to Judah's cities to teach the Bible and God's way. Jehoshaphat was a good king, so for a long time, the two tribes in Judah had a good life. We hope you learned something new today. If you did, give this video a like and share it with your friends. You can share with us what you know by leaving a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative and entertaining content. Thank you so much, and see you next time.